Perfect assessment. All right, guys. Hey, we're going to go over hockey today. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just repping my favorite hockey team. We'll do a preview on that once the season starts. I think it's going to start in January. But what we're going to talk about today is UFC 255. Now, that was a fun main card, and the prelim fight. Actually, the whole card was really good. I went 4-2 in my picks, so that was wonderful. As you could tell, did great. So yeah, kick off things right there. So the first fight, remember, was in the men's flyweight division. It was the last card on the last fight on the prelims. You know, I think it should have been on the main card, but you know, for whatever reason, it wasn't. It was number 1 ranked contender Brandon Moreno versus number 6 Brandon Royval. Now, remember I was telling you I didn't know which way to go. I had picked Moreno when I was doing the video, and I'm glad I did. It was an interesting fight already, like right away. Punches being thrown by both of them, but Moreno had this striking there, and then he took Perez down. The weird thing was when he took him down, and I think it was like, I don't know, it was like the awkward angle Royval fell on. I mean, you could see you could hear he was in a lot of pain. I don't think you could maybe see it from our point of view. The announcers could see it though. But Royval was just grimacing in a lot of pain, and Moreno was just hitting him with punches, and he just screamed. And you know, Dean came in. It was like the very last second of the first round. He came in, stopped the fight, and when Royval stood up, his shoulder was dislocated. So, I mean, he was just in a ton of pain. And he did get it popped back into place, but the fight was stopped. It was a TKO victory for Brandon Moreno. It was impressive. Royval, I mean, I think if it wasn't for that injury, the fight probably would have went... It could have probably went into the third round because it was just high level. I mean, he was getting outstruck, but you just never know. You never know how things can happen because every round is different. So, you know, he'll rebound. I'm pretty sure he'll rebound there. For Moreno... I think this should solidify the next title shot for him. We'll go into that because it pertains to the main event, what will happen there. But he does deserve the title shot. I think he is going to get it next. But like I said, we'll get into that. All right. So that was the prelim fight. So then here was the main card. So the first fight that was on the main card was in the light heavyweight division. It was former champ from 10 years ago, Mauricio Shogun Rua against Paul Craig. Now remember, I told you guys they had a draw back in 2019. So, you know, they were fighting to see who got the better of it. And Craig right away just dominant from the beginning. You know, landing crisper punches, taking Shogun down with ease. And in the second round, he just flattened Shogun out. And, you know, he was on top of Shogun on the back and just wailing on punches. And once Craig heard the ref saying, "Hey, man, Shogun, you got to do something," he just started hitting him more and more. Shogun just tapped out, strikes. There goes that. For Shogun, I think this should be the end of the road for him. Again, unless he's fighting legends like he did Little Nog in the last fight, no need to fight these guys that are making their way up towards the rankings. Just what's the point? Why diminish your legacy? Just retire right off into the sunset. Even Dana White was saying it. For Paul Craig, I think he wants a top 10 guy. He should get a top 10 guy. See where he fits in. I mean, he has great grappling. Striking is getting better. He's got length and size. So, you know, we'll see. We'll see what happens with him. But it will be. It should be good for him. So we'll follow him as he goes on. All right. The next fight was in the women's flyweight division. So remember, this had possible title implications with the co-main event. It was Caitlin Chookagian versus Cynthia Calvillo. And I remember I picked Cynthia Calvillo, but man, she looked lost in there. In the beginning, you know, she did take Chookagian down, but Chookagian popped right back up. So that, I think, probably broke her confidence because, you know, for the rest of the fight, she tried 3 more takedowns, got stuffed, and Chookagian was just outlanding her on the feet. Just Calvillo looked like she could do nothing at all. Chookagian was just hitting her. Calvillo couldn't block it, nothing. She just did not look good there. So what happens there? Now with Chookagian, again, she did just lose to Jessica Andrade. So what I think should happen is she should fight Lauren Murphy. She's on a little bit of a winning streak. They should fight there. Andrade should fight Shevchenko. I mean, she won, so we'll get into that. But they should fight, and the winner of that fight, Murphy versus Chookagian, fight the winner, which I assume will be Andrade versus Shevchenko. So that was that fight there. All right. The next fight was in the middleweight division. Remember, it was Platinum Mike Perry versus Tim Means. Now, Mike Perry was very unprofessional before this. He missed weight by 4.5 pounds. That is like he just did not even try at all. He was complaining on his Twitter or whatever, saying, "Oh, like, this is such a struggle, yada yada yada." Well, turns out that there was a video a week before that he was eating brownies and pizza and just junk food. Well, duh. How do you think you're gonna not make weight? How do you think you're gonna make weight if that's what you're eating the week before the weigh-ins? I mean, just complete unprofessionalism. Yeah, that was just not good. So, fight starts there. Means does get Perry, like I think he gets 30% of Perry's purse, but Means wanted to make him pay for what happened, and he did. Perry in the beginning, though, in the first round, took Means down and looked like he almost had Means gone, choked out. But Means fought it, got up, started landing a little bit. I think he lost the first round, but then in the second and third round, Means was just outlanding, outstriking Perry with elbows, punches, everything. Perry just could not do anything anymore there. I don't know if he was gassed out. I don't know if he needs a corner because, he only has his pregnant girlfriend in the corner. Really, personally, with everything that goes on with him, he's been such a train wreck with all the, instances he has outside of MMA, with being so unprofessional here. He really should be cut. I don't think Dana will cut him because he's a name and he brings viewers, everything. But he's very unprofessional, I don't think. For Means, it was a good victory. We'll see. He's a wily vet. I don't know where it will lead him. But with Perry, hit the road, Jack. Go to Bellator or something. But we'll see what happens there. It'll be interesting to see what Dana White does there. All right. So now you had the 2 title fights. All right. So the first fight was the women's flyweight champion, probably the second most dominant woman of all time, I would say, Valentina Shevchenko, fighting, her contender, the challenger, Jennifer Maia. Now, remember how Maia got there. Now, nobody really gave her a chance at all. I mean, by the time the fight started, she was a plus 950 underdog. I mean, that's saying a lot. And Shevchenko, I think, was like a minus 2,000. So the first round, Shevchenko's landing punches. She takes Jennifer Maia down, which was kind of odd. I mean, I don't think people were expecting that game plan from her. Second round, things got a little interesting there. Maia takes Shevchenko down, has control of her. Doesn't really land too much or anything devastating to Shevchenko, but Shevchenko rarely loses rounds. So the fact that she lost the second round, people were kind of like, "Hey, what's going on here?" But in the rest of the fight there, from round 3 to 5, Shevchenko was just outlanding her, outstriking her, taking her to the ground, controlling her there. I mean, it was just a dominant performance, once again, by Valentina Shevchenko. So she won by unanimous decision. She won 4 rounds to 1. Impressive performance by her. Jessica Andrade should be next for her. That should be interesting because Andrade used to be the strawweight champion. Remember, she moved up. And you remember, she finished Chukagian pretty quickly. So it'll be interesting. I mean, I don't know if she'll beat Shevchenko, but I think she'll put up a fight, and she's tough. She's tough as nails. Again, she's the former champ. So, she's got that on her side, experience and everything. So it would be interesting. I'm looking forward to that fight. Just somebody to present maybe a different piece of the puzzle to Shevchenko, because she just looked so dominant and just outclassing all her opponents. So yeah, that was there. And then the main event. This was going to be, a good one. Flyweight champion, newly crowned, Davidson Figueiredo fighting Alex Perez. Now, again, should have been Brandon Moreno. And then originally it was supposed to be Cody Garbrandt, who pulled out. I think he had torn biceps. I think that's why so they put Alex Perez there to fight him. And, the first round, Perez is, landing pretty good. Figueiredo was kind of feeling him out. Perez went for the takedown. Well, Figueiredo tried to get him in a knee lock, but then what was crazy was how he transitioned into a guillotine. Gets Perez squeezing on him tight. You could see Perez looked like he was just about to be out. Taps out. Fight over. 2-minute victory for Davidson Figueiredo. I mean, that was just impressive. To beat a guy who's also known really well for his wrestling and his jiu-jitsu and submissions. That's just impressive to take a guy out like that in 2 minutes. Wow, Figueiredo looks like he might be the next dominant force in this division. Now, what I was saying, what may be next for him? Well, Cody Garbrandt did tweet out afterwards and say, hey, he's ready for it. But the interesting thing I was just reading, and I don't think it's official yet, but Dana White is looking to secure Brandon Moreno versus Deiveson Figueiredo for UFC 256, which will be next month. That's a quick turnaround for both of them. That rarely ever happens. A champ defending his belt back-to-back. I think Dana's desperate for it because there were supposed to be 3 title fights happening originally for UFC 256, and none of them are happening now. So he's looking for a title fight there. So we'll see if that gets done. I would love to see it. Again, both guys sustained very minimal damage in both of their fights, so it'd be perfect. And Moreno is the #1 contender, so he does deserve it. That would be a hell of a fight. So I'm hoping that Dana makes that happen. All right, and then for this week, guys, we're going to go over 2 fights only, one in boxing and one in MMA. In MMA, it's going to be a UFC fight night. It's going to be actually a really important contest in the heavyweight division. It'll be Curtis Blades against Derek Lewis, the Black Beast. And in boxing, it's the fight I'm going to go over. It's an exhibition fight, but I've had requests from people to do it. Is Mike Tyson? Yes, Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones Jr. Yes, Roy Jones Jr. Yes, the 2 legends, 2 of the greatest fighters of all time. They're going to be doing an exhibition fight. So I'm going to go into both of those guys, to both of those fights. All right, guys. Remember, Irvit's Assessment. If you could like, subscribe, share, comment, whatever, all that good stuff. If you guys could please do that, I greatly appreciate it. Irvit's Assessment out. Peace.